Have you ever thought, why do I suck at fantasy football? Welcome. This is the Commissioner Fantasy Football Podcast.
Hello and welcome to week 10. Look, there's like 4 weeks. Some 5 weeks, but most leagues, that's all that's left for the regular season of fantasy football. And so before I get into the starts, I want to kind of give at least 2 tips for the upcoming end of the last 4 weeks. If you have a high record, if you're 9-0, you're playing in the wrong league. You shouldn't be 9-0. Most people don't get that lucky. So if you're 9-0, whatever, 8-1, 7-2, 6-3, look, this is the time for you to start planning for the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs. A lot of times you might get a bye week in your league. It all depends. But look, the tip for you is find the players. I'll give an example of Eckler, right? The owner who has Eckler is probably out of the playoffs, maybe, or he needs some help this week. You with the bigger record, the better record, look, you go get Eckler. You go get some of these guys who possibly even have an easier schedule for the playoffs. So start planning now. Look for defenses who have a good schedule. Maybe defense are a little too early, but that's your mindset for the next 3 to 4 weeks is, hey, I have a good record. I'm going to make the playoffs. Hey, I'm going to plan as best as I can for the playoffs. So that's the tip I would say. Look ahead. Start looking ahead now. Why you can look ahead? Because you're probably going to make the playoffs. It's very unlikely you won't. So that's the tip for you if you have a good record. If you have a bad record, if you're still maybe in it, right? You need 2 or 3 out of the 4 wins, or you need all 4 wins. Look for players that are producing now. Like, for example, Duke Johnson. David Johnson might be out. Go pay up for Duke Johnson. This is the guy that you can use because he's getting volume. If David Johnson's out, he's going to get volume. So start looking for players with volume to produce this week because you need to win this week. So put all your chips. If you're trading, trade up for if Christian McCaffrey is out. Go get Davis. Go get Mike Davis because the owner of Mike Davis knows Christian McCaffrey will eventually come back. So try to get impacting players now. So that's the key for if you have a bad record. Don't think about the playoffs, right? The opposite. Think of every week matters now for you. So those are some tips I wanted to kind of give before we get into the starts. So before we get into the starts, there's 4 teams on bye. We have Falcons, Cowboys, Chiefs, and Jets. Jets surprisingly look good against, again, the Patriots are missing a lot of pieces in their defense. So they haven't looked good, but that deep ball was just flying on Monday. So I was pretty shocked in that game. It was a decent game. All right, so let's get into game 1. We have a Thursday night matchup, which actually looks good. So we have the Colts with a good record facing their division rivals at the Titans. Weather should be good. So this might be a good game. Might be a defensive game at times. Colts have a good defense, so that's something you can look to start. Jonathan Taylor, he fumbled. And if you're a Jonathan Taylor owner, I know it could be frustrating because it looked like he got benched after that. He looked good in the beginning of the game. I'm going to give him one more shot. This is it. Tennessee doesn't have that great of a defense, even the run defense. So I will give him another shot this week. This is it for Jonathan Taylor for me. Rivers, you can actually start. Again, Titans give up a lot of passing yards. They look better against the Bears. Of course, the Bears. Bears are actually looking like the Bears. For the wide receivers, look, Pittman Jr., the guy from USC, I loved him coming in. He hasn't produced, but look, he got the most yards in that game, the last game. So I think Phillip Rivers might be looking to this big body guy. Mo Alley-Cox or Burton, those are the 2 tight ends that you just don't know. So I would probably stick with Burton because Mo Alley-Cox will need a touchdown. Burton might get volume. So if you need a tight end to start this Thursday, those are two guys I might consider, but you might look for better options. And the Colts defense. All the other running backs, Wilkins right now, I'm not going to start this game, or even Hines. For the Titans, look, you can start Tannehill. I know Colts have a good defense, but Tannehill, looks, he's got weapons to throw to. I know Davis had a bad game, but he's still got Corey Davis. And look, A.J. Brown is A.J. Brown. He's looking like the A.J. Brown of last year, which I'm happy to see that. Derrick Henry, I know the Colts have a good run defense. They showed against the Ravens. But you're going to start Derrick Henry. There's no way in the world you bench him. Unless you're the team that really needs a win. But even at that point, I would say, hey, start Derrick Henry. Everybody else for me at this game, I'm not messing. Even Jonnu Smith right now, I don't know. Game 2, Sunday morning, Jaguars at the Packers. The Jags came out looking pretty good against the Texans, but it is the Texans defense. So a couple of things I want to go over in this game for the Jaguars. DJ Chark, the new quarterback, Jake Luton. Look, Chark is a good weapon. So he's the only pass catcher I'm going to trust even against the Packers. The only problem I'm seeing with the Packers game is that Alexander, their cornerback, the Packers cornerback, which is one of the top cornerbacks in football right now, he had a concussion. He left the game last week. Kevin King might be back. So I think in this game, I would try to stay away from anybody, especially if these guys are playing. Kevin King and Alexander, if they're playing. So James Robinson, you got to start. And Jake Luton, I'm not going to trust this quarterback against the Packers are at home. They're going to need a win. The Packers, this game is the game that, hey, the Packers are saying, hey, this game is on slot for us. This is a must-win game. Easy game. Jaguars defense is non-existent. So I know the Packers are going to win. But for fantasy, I'm just going to trust James Robinson in this game. Everybody else, I'm going to pump the brakes or stay away from. For the Packers, you start Rodgers, Aaron Jones, you start Devontae Adams. Those are automatic starts. They've been top performers this season. If Allen Lazard is back, I am trusting Allen Lazard, especially against the Jaguars. If he's not back, look, MVS, Marquez Van MVS is a good start this week. Marquez Van Scantling. That's a hard name to pronounce. Even the Packers defense, I think, if those cornerbacks, Kevin King and Alexander, are playing, I'm gonna look for the Packers defense to start. So, all right, for game number 3, Texans at the Browns. Texans, you're gonna start Watson. Browns don't have a great pass defense. You start Watson. Yeah, Duke Johnson. If he's the guy there, you start Duke Johnson. So he's a waiver pickup right now, but you start him. If DJ's back, you start DJ. DJ's on the concussion protocols. Those just depends on how long they last. So I hope DJ's back. If he's not, Duke Johnson's a must play. Fuller and Cooks are the other pass catchers. Everybody else, I'm not gonna even try to start or try to be fun with and be like, oh, I could plug these guys in now. For the Browns, if Mayfield plays, he was on COVID, he should be able to play. If Chubb is out still, because Chubb's supposed to come back. If Chubb is out, I would trust Mayfield a lot more, because if Chubb is in, they're going to try to run the ball with Chubb and Hunt like they were doing. If Chubb is back, you start Chubb. If Hunt, you start Hunt no matter what. And Austin Hooper, if he's playing, you start Austin Hooper. Look, Mayfield loves the tight end. And again, tight end was the specialty, especially with OBJ gone. Landry or Rashard Higgins, that is a question. I would still trust Landry. Higgins had that one good game, but Landry, they got him. They traded for him. So he's versatile. So I think they're going to use him. I would rather trust him. Nobody else in these games. Game 4, Washington football team at the Lions. Look, Washington's pretty easy. McLaurin, you start. Alex Smith, no matter what quarterback, Terry McLaurin he's going to be the star of the NFL. Okay, he's the future wide receiver star in the NFL. He's amazing, great to watch. Antonio Gibson must start every week now. I think out of all the rookies coming back right now, he's been the most consistent, under the radar, but most consistent rookie running back. And then J.D. McKissick, look, you could start him in PPR. He's getting volume. He's in PPR, he's like 10 to 12 points. He's got you. And then Logan Thomas, the tight end, you could probably even play in this. I'm playing him one league. So, look, Lions especially, they're bad against the running back pass catchers. So, Lions defense and they got destroyed against the Vikings. I guess everybody's being destroyed against Dalvin Cook. For the Lions, Stafford should be back. He left the game and ruined one of my teams because I depended on him. Marvin Jones, Hawkinson. Hawkinson got that touchdown, but man, Stafford had that garbage time, right? He was two scores behind. He's good at garbage time, and so I didn't work out this time. He got the concussion protocol, but he was never on the injured. He's not on the injury list, so he should be fine. If Galladay's back, I'm starting Stafford. Galladay, Hawkinson, I would start them automatically if they're back, and DeAndre Swift. Like, Adrian Peterson's taking away carries. Adrian Peterson still looks good. That guy's amazing, just like Tom Brady, even though Tom Brady had a bad game, but those guys are older and they're still playing. So it's pretty amazing. I would have started Marvin Jones unless Galladay is out. I would probably plug in Marvin Jones because, look, he's the next target with Hawkinson and Marvin Jones if Galladay is out. Game number 5. Eagles at the Giants. Here come the Eagles, right? This is a division that's it's a dumpster fire, but look, this is a division that I think is getting better. For the Philadelphia Eagles, you start Wentz. You start Miles Sanders. He should be back. I'm excited. I have him in a few leagues. Travis Fulgham, I would start just because he got the volume before. Jalen Reagor is back, and Dallas Goedert, so maybe Fulgham goes down. But even when those two were back, he's established himself as a wide receiver. So I would probably trust him over the other two, or Jalen Reagor. Jalen Reagor, if he's on waivers, go get him. Go get him because, look, he's going to be the guy there. Fulgham was maybe a temporary, but look, you want Jalen Reagor on your bench just because of play, especially if you're the upside team, right? If you have the good record, go get him. Dallas Goedert is a must start. Look, there's a history between Wentz and Dallas Goedert. Start Dallas Goedert. Go get him if you don't. He's a priority pickup this week if he's out there on waivers. And Eagles defense, you start. Giants, I would only trust the tight end Ingram. They're focusing on trying to get him involved. And I love it. Evan Ingram's talented, and I think that's the only guy I would trust. Wayne Gallman Jr., if Freeman is out, I probably trust him too. He's the guy there, and he's producing. That O-line seems to be clicking. And then Slayton or Shepard, I'm not trusting anybody in this game. Like, Eagles' pass defense is pretty good. Game number 6, Bucks at the Panthers. Bucks are going to have a comeback game. Look, that was a fluke. Big-time fluke. I know Saints got healthy. They got a healthy defense, but that was a fluke. So, look, Brady, you start. Godwin, you start. Evans, you start. Fournette, unfortunately, you start over Rojo, Ronald Jones Jr., because I don't know what Bruce Arians is doing. I have no clue. I think Ronald Jones looks better. I think he's a better pass catcher. I think he's been phenomenal. He's produced when Fournette wasn't playing, and all of a sudden Fournette is playing 80% of the snaps. It's mind-boggling to me. I hate it, not just as a fantasy owner, but a Ronald Jones fan. I'm a USC fan. I'm frustrated. I'm like, you got a great running back, and you're not even using him. Fournette's not bad. I'm not saying he's bad, but it's just frustrating to see. So I think in that game against the Saints, they ran the ball, I think, only 4 times. You got to establish the run, Bruce Arians. Like, you got an all-star team, and you don't look good. So, just frustrated as a Ronald Jones owner and just as a Ronald Jones fan. So, if you're out there, you're frustrated with me as well. Panthers, I want to start the Bucs defense. The Panthers are actually looking good. Unless Christian McCaffrey's not playing, maybe. So, Christian McCaffrey's dealing with an injury. He comes back, has a great game. I play against him. I have him in a few leagues. I played against him in a few leagues. It sucked. Now that he's gone, I'm looking at my next matchups, and I have Davis playing. These owners have Davis, so nothing's working out in some leagues for me. It's fantasy football, right? It's frustrating. But if Christian McCaffrey is in, you play him. If not, you play Mike Davis. Curtis Samuel. You got to pick him up. If he's on waivers, go get him because they're using him. Especially if Christian McCaffrey's not there, this is the guy you must start. Automatic start at this point. DJ Moore had a bad game. I'm still trusting him. I think talent will prevail. So I'm trusting him. And Anderson, he's been trending down, but I still could plug him in and play because this could be maybe a try to come back, right? The Bucs might go up and the Panthers might want to try to come back. So all these starts for the Panthers look good. Even Bridgewater, you could possibly plug him in. He might be a streamer. And the last game on this part 1 is going to be the Broncos at the Raiders. Raiders are pulling off wins everywhere. Again, like I said, they're bipolar to me. I don't know what to expect from them. Their defense not that great. But for the Broncos, you could start Drew Lock. Like Jerry Jeudy he's the guy. I guess with Tim Patrick being injured, Noah Fant having injuries every game. If you're a Noah Fant fantasy owner, wave at me because it sucks. So Jerry Jeudy for me is a must start. Lindsey or Gordon, if you have either, I would start them. Look, Raiders don't have a good defense. And Tim Patrick, if you own him, he possibly could be a start for that big upside game. For the Raiders, like Derek Carr might be a start. I think they're playing at home, so I think Derek Carr. Jacobs, man, I just wish Gruden would give him more volume, more passing roles, catching the ball. It's frustrating to see that. So if you're a Jacobs owner like me, it's frustrating. Darren Waller you play, and look, Nelson Aguilar is not Ruggs. I thought might be the deep threat, but look, Nelson Aguilar has proven himself and establishing a role in this offense. But look, if you have better options, I will go better options. So this is it for part 1 of the starts. Look, just take my advice. Depends on your record. Pay attention, even if you're out. Again, so until part 2, good luck in these matchups. Any questions, hit me up. You have my number on Instagram. Message me, and hopefully we get a win and kind of move a step closer to the playoffs. So good luck until next time. Take care.
Dude, you better not be sleeping after that podcast. That was an amazing message. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Commissioner. Also subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Any comments, questions, concerns, send them to the Instagram page, The Commissioner, your fantasy football guide.